This last week, California Governor Gavin Newsom called a special emergency session of the legislature for the purpose of, quote, Trump-proofing California, or protecting California values. Now, it's a question of whether this session is even, there's a question of whether this session is even legal, given that the state constitution allows for a special session to be called under extraordinary circumstances, and you might wonder whether the result of a duly conducted presidential election could truly constitute an extraordinary circumstance. More than that, it is clearly a farce, as despite the governor's claims that this is an emergency situation, it was such an emergency that they gavelled in for about an hour and then went home for a month without passing any legislation. But we should just examine the governor's claim that we need to protect California values, protect the status quo in California against any forces of reform that may be coming from Washington, D.C. What exactly is the governor aiming to protect? Is it California's national lead when it comes to homelessness, the fact that we have half the unsheltered homeless in the entire country? Is that what Governor Newsom is aiming to protect? Is it our highest in the nation poverty rate? Is he looking to protect our lead when it comes to poverty? Or is it when it comes to retail crime? Does he want to maintain the #1 record for the worst retail crime in the country? Or the #1 spot when it comes to anti-business regulations? Or when it comes to frivolous lawsuits? Or when it comes to unemployment? Actually, we're now only second worst in the country when it comes to unemployment, so perhaps his protective measures are aiming to get us back in the lead. Is he looking to protect our standing as the worst state in the country when it comes to an increase in wages? Wages have stagnated in California more than any state in the country. Or when it comes to restrictions on workers and the right to earn a living? Is he looking to make sure that California maintains its lead in gas prices, well above the price of gas in any of the other 49 states? Well, we know he's looking to do that because his own CARB board just passed regulations that are going to raise gas prices about 60 cents a gallon more. Is he looking to protect our standing as #2 in the country in housing costs, #2 in the country in water bills, #3 in the country in energy and electricity costs, #3 in the country in inequality, #1 in the country when it comes to income taxes? Certainly wants to protect California's lead in that respect. Does he want to protect our #1 in the country budget deficit that was reported last year? Or our standing 3rd in the country in road disrepair? Or maybe it's the fact that California has the highest illiteracy rate in the entire country. Perhaps that's what the value that Governor Newsom is aiming to protect. Or relatedly, the fact that we are second out of the 50 states when it comes to educational inequity. If we were still in the COVID days, he'd certainly be looking to protect our national lead when it came to school shutdowns, business shutdowns, and COVID mandates. We know that he's looking to protect our national lead when it comes to illegal border crossings. For the first time in the 90s, over the last year, the highest level of illegal border crossings have been in the San Diego border sector because he stood by California's standing as a sanctuary state. When it comes to funding for illegal immigrants, surely he's looking to protect our lead there, as California is the only state in the country that's offering free Medicaid to those who are here unlawfully. And most certainly, we know the governor is looking to extend California's four-peat in leading the nation in one-way U-Haul rentals, and is looking through his protective special session, I'm sure, to make that a five-peat. No, Mr. Speaker, California values, as Governor Newsom envisions them, do not need protecting. And I would argue they are not actually the values of Californians. What we're seeing happening in our state is that Californians themselves are looking to Newsom-proof California. That's been happening in my district for quite some time, where we have developed a different model, where we support law enforcement, where we support small businesses, where we believe in respecting the personal decisions of folks in our community. And as a result, we're one of the few areas of the state that people are actually moving to. And by all of these metrics that I just mentioned, we're doing much better than the state as a whole. But we're seeing these Newsom-proofing measures taking hold, not just in my district, but across California. And for evidence for this, look at the overwhelming passage of Prop 36 on the ballot this November. This was a measure to make crime illegal again in California. It largely rolled back the notorious Proposition 47. Gavin Newsom, and I might add the leaders of the supermajority in the legislature, fought it every step of the way. He concocted several schemes to undemocratically remove it from the ballot, even after it qualified through a citizen petition process. And then he led the No on Prop 36 campaign, and yet at the end of the day, it passed in an overwhelming victory, nearly 70% of the vote, an overwhelming majority, Democrats, Republicans, and independents. It passed in all 58 counties, wasn't close anywhere, even passed in Newsom's hometown of San Francisco. So, Mr. Speaker, California is now on a path back to sanity. And I have great hope for the future of our state. And frankly, I think that the governor's attempts to get himself in the headlines and whatever theatrics may be coming are not going to stand in our way of getting our state moving in the right direction.